Page 43, Dancing the Minuet. Well, there's a few things here I want to talk about. First being dance. It tells you we're probably in a dance here. People are going to move to this. That means if you mess up the rhythm and so forth, they trip over themselves and they hate you from then on. So just careful. If you're playing music that people are moving to, careful. Then it says the minuet. Well, that tells us the kind of dance it is. It's a minuet. A minuet is similar to a waltz. Minuets are 3/4 time. Then you look at the time signatures, 3/4. And it's sort of a waltz. It's a hoity-toity. To me, it's what the aristocracy way back hundreds of years ago used to dance to. Minuet. Until they discovered the waltz was more fun, and then they started doing that. So already the title tells us a few things here. It's a dance and it's a minuet. We're still in 2 sharps or D major, so make sure you can do the D major scale. 1 octave up and down is fine for now. Let's cover it one hand at a time because we're moving around a little bit. So you're starting here in the right hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and rest, rest. And the second line is similar. Third line is there. 1 and 2. And then the 8 VA is there. So the notes are written here, but it's the 8 VA sends it up here. I'm going to play it up here. Well, isn't that going to be just a lot of fun? Because on the second measure, you're ending it here, and now you got to go to here. Well, isn't that delightful? I suggest that we prepare that move. We don't just make it. Just all of a sudden, whoops, surprise, here we are. In the second measure, the third line, when you're here, you have 2 A's. Remember I said we can take advantage of repeated notes to change hand positions? Well, let's do that. Instead of here, do a thumb. Now, I can reach it almost. I'm almost there. If I have to move, it's not very much, or I can reach up. It just helps it so much better. So that third line, 5, 1. Now I can go up. And then the rest I got time to come back down here. And then they want 4th finger. I don't recommend it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just rather awkward. We got time later to be awkward. I'm going to suggest you use thumb on that D here, and then scrunch up and use 5th finger on the E. You relax, your hand will come in, and you're in position for that. That way we don't have to make this move here. I know the articulation will help us, but when I first learn a piece of music, I want to play it all connected. I want a fingering that works connected, because that's usually most reliable. I can feel my way around the keyboard, and I can do that here, here, this, rather than jumping up and moving like that. Left hand, well, it's a 1 chord, we're not using the middle note. You don't have to use all the notes. And then a 5/7 chord, we're not using that. Note. Last measure, the first line, 1 and 2. Try and connect that with the fingers. Can you connect that together? Just adding the A to it. Third line, you have a rest, come up here. 4 and 2. Don't forget the C sharp. And then in the next measure, it's the same notes, but it has an 8 VA above it. So now you go up here. Remember I said before the 8 VA only applies to the staff it's next to? But here they want both hands to go up, and this is one way of notating it. They could also have just put the 8 VA above the top staff and put in a note, both hands. That would do it. Or they can do it the way they did and put an 8 VA above both staffs. So that you're just going to lift up during the rest and come up here. And then during the rest, for the last line, come back down. And then during that rest, come down again. Don't forget the C sharps. Put the hands together here. 1 and 2 and 3. And again, I'm connecting everything I can. Now, as I play the eighth notes, the right hand comes up. And then the left hand, remember, has a rest on beat 3 on these. Make sure you lift up. Except there. Third line, you're here. You got to come up here. The left hand's got to move, so if you're already there, you can focus on the left hand. Or you can get the left hand up. As you're playing this note, you can get the left hand up here ready to go. Just over the keys, ready to go, and that way it's there already. It's up to you on how you do this move on the third line between the second and third measure. Here. Since I have a rest, I'll go ahead and get up there. So I'm there ready to go. Then you come back down. And get the left hand down here ready to go so you can focus on the right hand. So you got some hand movements there, and the beat has to be steady. So you may need to practice the hand movements. Once we get it that, then we can add the articulation. The chords, you just play, hold them out the full 2 counts. And this, as I play the third beat, the left hand comes up. So the left hand comes up. We're going to staccato. So take advantage of the staccatos too, but I don't want to rely on the staccatos to help me move the hand. That's why I'm using the fingering I'm using. Then the dynamics, that applies to the melody wherever it's at. Mezzo piano is sort of soft, whatever you think sort of soft is. These chords need to be very soft on the left hand. Third line, you go up a little bit to moderately loud. The left hand's still soft. And then third measure, the third line, you come down moderately, you echo that. And back up to moderately loud. Now loud. It's the right hand that's loud. The left hand has to be, you can come up to maybe moderately soft to moderately loud in there, but keep it in the background. We want to hear the right. The fact they're playing the same notes does not mean the left hand's playing melody. Because you can have harmony being an octave apart. It can still be harmony, and that's what it is. The right hand is melody. The left hand is harmony. It just happens to be an octave apart. Keep it in the background. And then come up. Because you go back to the beginning, the DC fine, remember that, our old friend that, and the fine's at the end of the second line. As far as the speed goes, picture in your mind of people waltzing, sort of. It's not really a waltz, but it's like a waltz. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, slow waltz, sort of. And again, at the top of here, they're asking you if this is 2 or 3 part form. Well, you got to figure it out. Of course, you want to learn it first so you know what the melodies are. And you have this melody, and it goes for 2 lines. That would be section A. And then the different melody, well, that's section B. It's a different melody. But the DC sends you back to section A again. So we have an A, B, A. That's 3 forms on this. Yeah. Now, let's play it together very slowly to double check our notes and rhythms. Not going to do any dynamics. I'm going to do both hands about the same. I will do the staccatos and stuff, and we're going to do the DC al fine and all that. So I'll give us 3 counts. Let's just play it. You should be playing the same notes I'm playing at the same time. We're just checking notes and rhythms is all this is for. 1 and 2 and go, and 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2, rest. One and 2 and rest and. To the top,